We continue our stand against domestic violence, and here to share what they've gone through and how they've survived, welcome Latrice Mosley-Smith and also Lauren Armour and Yolanda Carter. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. And Latrice, we're going to start with you. Even though you didn't experience abuse, you grew up in a home where you saw abuse. Your father against your mother, right?
Correct. I always say that I'm not a victim or a survivor. I'm a witness, and I observed my father physically and mentally abuse my mother for 5 years. She was able to survive those 5 years of the abuse, but couldn't beat 2 years of colon cancer. And it does affect the children. And I was not able to even share about my experience until I became an adult.
How old were you at the first moment you realized what was going on?
Well, it had to be at the age of 5, because it went from 5 to 9. And what my parents did not know, although they were in this tumultuous relationship, is that I was teased with the black eyes that the children saw my mother walking down the street with the sunglasses on at night because of the black eyes and the busted lips. So they didn't know that when they were in the house arguing and having these physical altercations, that I was experiencing that with the children in the neighborhood. But I never said anything, because what are you told? What happens in the house stays in the house.
What long-lasting impact do you think it's had on you?
Well, I'm going to say this. I didn't have a close relationship with my father, and I feel as though it made me be very cautious in dating other individuals. My grandmother was a victim of domestic violence, and so was my mother. So what has helped me is to say, it stops here. It is a cycle. And I found myself dating older guys starting in high school, and it was not until I became an adult and sought counseling that I was seeking that acceptance, because the absence of my protective father.
Your father and mother have both passed.
That is
Sorry
correct.
for your loss there. How do you feel about your father now?
Well, it's funny, because all the time that it was happening, I never said anything. He passed away in 2013, and basically that was the first time I was able to verbally discuss it, because I felt as though if I said something while he was alive, it was being disrespectful. I know some people cannot even understand that, but it was kind of like it was time to open up and let go. And after my mother passed, a year after him, in 2014, that's when I said it's time to end the silence. And Val knows this.
Yeah.
I started the very first Purple Hose and Heels 5K. She was a part of it. And that was my healing, the beginning of my healing process, to open up and say, it stops here, and we need to start having a discussion about it.
And now you've moved on to a stage play, a survivor's monologue.
Yes.
That's helped in your healing as well?
It absolutely has helped, because what people did not know, as I always tell other individuals, tell your story, it can bless others. No one knew the entire story. There was a tragic incident that took place with my mother and father that he could have died. And my mother was retaliating. And so I could have grown up seeing my mother behind bars.
Wow.
But I always say, but God, he was there, and they did not press charges. He did not press charges. The state did not press charges. And what's so funny about my parents is that they became friends after that.
Wow.
And guess what? I was still mad.
Right.
I was still upset. So this play, this was the second part of me healing. So that's when I actually shared with some of my friends that have been knowing me over 20 years, never knew about that tragic incident. And now it's my road to recovery, I should say.
Wow, that's powerful. Lauren, I want to get you into this conversation. Tell us what happened with your sister, Donna.
Well, she was involved in a domestic relationship that I wasn't aware of, because she stayed in Texas and I'm up here, you know. And there are always signs, but, you know, you can't tell from over the phone, you know.
Right.
She's Chicago born and raised, but as soon as she graduated from high school, she went to Texas and fell in love with it and stayed.
Yeah.
Built a life there, had children. And then she ended up meeting this guy, I guess, about 5 years ago. And compared to what I've read in her journals, she was crazy about him. And last year, she broke up with him at some point, and I guess he retaliated, I suppose. And at 3 in the morning, September 22nd, he broke in her house, through her bedroom, and she suffered a severe trauma to the head. At 5 in the morning, he took her to the hospital. Hospital's only 3 minutes away. He broke in at 3, took her at 5, said she fell in the shower. The injuries didn't line up with his story, so that's how they end up deciding to detain him for a short amount of time until they can find out what was what. But before my plane landed on the 24th, they declared her brain dead, and based on Texas law, if she's brain dead, they consider her gone, and you're at the doctor's mercy. Like, if they decide to want to pull the plug, you can do nothing about it, you know.
Really?
So that's why we decided, when my mother decided to put her on a donors list to buy her time, because my brother wasn't there yet, you know, to donate her organs. And yeah.
You lost your sister. I know a trial is still waiting, and so we're still waiting. But the family, you said, didn't really know what was going on.
We didn't know what was going on. She had friends who say that they had a pact or whatever they wanted to call it, but no one noticed. Maybe one friend noticed out of all of the other individuals who claimed to have been close to her, but I honestly felt like they just wanted a piece of her business. But
this is so new and fresh for you, and I can tell. How are you?
I'm okay. You know, we still haven't had closure. You know, it's still ongoing. But I mean, she was a beautiful soul. She wanted to be an advocate for victims.
Yolanda, I want to bring you in. You detail what you went through in your book, One Eyewitness. Tell us a little bit more about what you want survivors to get from your story.
Well, I want people to recognize the warning signs, red flags, which I did not know about. Because I thought that, I still thought I had the best person in the whole wide world.
Wow.
Because he was
Even while the abuse was happening?
It was just the verbal, mentally, emotional. It was never a physical violence until that day when he decided that he wanted to take my life and beat me like he did with that hammer. On March 22nd, 2016, I was shooken by my son and not really understanding why this had to happen. There were some, like I said, it was days when he didn't talk to me, and I couldn't recognize, well, what did I do?
Right.
Well, you know what you did. You know, he would accuse me of things, and you know, it was just a lot of little things that we don't look at and be like, oh, that's not important. He's not, you know, he's a good guy. My son, you know, I felt like I kind of let my son down because he told me, he said, Mama, you need to put him out. And I told him, I said, no, he's not going to do anything to me. He loved me. And I never thought in a million years that a person that you lay beside every night, but, you know, we was together for 8 years on and off, but we stayed together for like 3.5 years. I laid beside this man every day. And what he told them, the detectives, when he went in to turn himself in, he said, I beat her with a hammer because she was snoring. Wow. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I kept trying to figure out what had it been that I'd done. I never got any closure, no apologies or anything. And I just wonder right now still, why did somebody do this to me? So, you know, not only suffer mental, but physical damage.
Right.
Well,
You lost your eye.
I lost my eye. I have a metal plate in my skull, 12 reconstructive surgeries. I just got a prosthetic eye. But I just, now I'm trying to rebuild my life. And I want other survivors to know that life can happen. You can go through trauma, but you can still live your life through the pain because God gave you purpose through your pain.
Yeah. And you're not letting your son down. Your son's proud of you and what you're doing to help others.
Yeah.
Coming up next, what's being done to help those who abuse take responsibility for their behavior.
And later, how you can help support domestic violence survivors right here in Chicago. We'll be right back.